So, when it comes to legalization, typically a lot of those southern states are lagging behind. But lately, we're seeing a massive shift as Kentucky's first dispensary has been approved and will be stocked with products ready for sale by next month. Plus, other traditionally prohibitionist states like Arkansas are also on track to set a new record when it comes to medical herb sales. And even Missouri, who only legalized back in 2022, is already showing the rest of the country how to do it as their sales remain strong and their prices remain steady.
Kentucky has approved its first medical cannabis dispensary. The Post dispensary in Beaver Dam in Ohio County is expected to open this fall. An exact date is still unknown. The dispensary is downtown, just off Main Street, in a building that used to be a U.S. Post Office. In May, Governor Andy Beshear announced the state had launched a new online directory that will keep Kentuckians updated about where medical dispensaries will be opening near them. In 2023, the Kentucky General Assembly voted to legalize medical marijuana. About the Beaver Dam dispensary, Governor Andy Beshear posted this, quote, "This is another step forward as we work to ensure Kentuckians with serious medical conditions have access to the medicine they need and deserve," unquote.
So it's great to see that typically prohibitionist states such as Kentucky are finally rolling out a medical program. I mean, it's about time. And according to these reports, Kentucky dispensaries should be stocked with products ready for sale by next month. So that's a big move. Now, there have been tons of people down in Kentucky waiting for this very moment. Tons of folks getting their ducks lined up and everything sorted out so that they can have their medical cards when these medical dispensaries roll out, and they'll be ready. And at this point, it's getting so close that the people down there can almost taste it.
Thousands of Kentuckians have already gotten their medical cards, but they still can't buy marijuana in Kentucky.
WDRB's Raina Keko shows us where dispensaries are planned and what's taking so long.
While no medical cannabis dispensaries are open, here's a look at where most of them are planned for. There will be 48 in the state, including 6 spread out between Jefferson, Bullitt, Oldham, and Shelby counties. People started applying for medical marijuana cards at the beginning of this year, and since then, more than 10,000 cards have been issued, along with over 15,000 written certifications. Since no one is able to buy medical cannabis in Kentucky yet, Governor Andy Beshear signed an executive order saying cardholders won't have to pay a renewal fee in 2026. That will stay in effect until there's a sufficient amount of dispensaries across the state. Beshear says Kentuckians shouldn't have to wait much longer, though. He says the first growers are going to put seeds in the ground soon.
We're getting really close this fall and this winter. I think we are very close to doing our site visits to both growers and potentially even the first processor.
The Office for Medical Cannabis is hosting a series of webinars to show potential patients and caregivers how to become medical cannabis cardholders this year. The next one is July 16th at noon.
So it's about time. Kentucky's finally taking steps to allow the medical patients to get those products that they need. Now, what I found pretty interesting about how Kentucky's rolling out this medical program is that they're actually going to have a cannabis safety compliance facility. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit more about that in a bit. But before we do, let's have a look at why it took so long for Kentucky to actually roll out the medical program and have some of these dispensaries set up. Check it out.
This is video from an Ohio dispensary. We can only show you shelves north of the river because there are no shops south of the Ohio border that are open.
When can people expect to start purchasing and using medical marijuana?
So the law says that it's got to be cultivated and bought and shared here in Kentucky.
Erlanger's Director of Economic Development encapsulates why it's been legal for 5 weeks in Kentucky to buy and consume medical marijuana, but no one is selling. Companies in Kenton, Boone, and Campbell counties were all awarded licenses to sell, but none are ready to open the doors, and there are no growing operations producing the plants.
You can buy it here, grow it here. To answer your question, those things have to be sort of lined up, and there are some things that all business owners have to do to set up shop here. We expect that this will be happening in Erlanger by the end of this year.
So essentially, it's been one of those situations where the laws have been set up, but there's been so much red tape, so many requirements, and just a slow outroll of the entire licensing process that caused a lot of people to be wondering what the hell is really happening? Why has nothing happened just yet? And that's similar to something that we've seen over in Alabama, where they've had a medical program on paper, but in reality, no medical program has actually been rolled out yet. Now, just a few months ago, Kentucky finally broke ground on the state's first medical safety compliance facility, so let's have a look look at that.
Kentucky broke ground on its first medical cannabis safety compliance facility. It's in Mayfield. It'll be one of 7 in the state to ensure the safety and quality of medical cannabis products. People started applying for medical marijuana cards back in January. Since then, more than 10,000 cards have been issued. Governor Beshear signed an executive order yesterday saying cardholders won't have to pay a renewal fee next year since they can't buy medical cannabis in Kentucky yet.
It's a $25 fee, but we recognize that while we expect some of these dispensaries to be open this year, you may have gotten one in January and have not been able to use it, at least for this first half of the year.
And you guys can see how that can be a problem. I applied for my license back in January. I pay my licensing fee and I'm still waiting. We're in September and there's been no dispensaries rolled out yet. So what am I paying for this licensing fee? What is the point of me buying this license and paying this licensing fee if I can't access any products? And at least the governor down there has recognized that and will say, okay, no need to renew your license next year. We'll refund those fees. Or at the very least, we'll just waive those fees. Now, those can be seen as some good moves over in Kentucky, and I want to show you guys what's happening over in Missouri as well as Arkansas. But before we do, just a quick reminder, if you're getting value from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club or cop some merch from our merch store. And if you happen to be a home gardener, try the ICANN Organics, use the code LEGAL, it works on the bundle and the beans.
Missouri is on track to be the fastest state in the U.S. to reach $1 billion in cannabis sales. Dispensaries like Fresh Karma believe it after the sky-high sales they've seen in about the last month.
If we had to guess, I would say sales are going to continue to grow.
Tony Patton is co-founder of Fresh Karma Dispensaries. Since recreational marijuana became legal in Missouri and dispensaries have been able to sell starting February 3rd, he says business has been booming.
We expected a 2 to 3 times sales, and we're seeing right now approximately 5 times sales.
He anticipates even more growth and more green over the next several months. Here's a look at the total number of cannabis sales in Missouri for February. 31.2 million in medical use, 71.7 million in adult use. That's nearly $103 million total in the first month, which means Missouri is on track to hit $1 billion in annual sales and may set a new record in the U.S.
It's been phenomenal.
Travis Andrews is a frequent flyer. He's not surprised by the high numbers.
People have heard about it. It's legal now. I can try it, even recreational. Maybe it's for me, maybe it's not.
Patton says week after week, they've had to hire more staff to keep up with the demand. They saw a spike in sales during the Super Bowl and Chiefs victory parade, followed by a slight dip. But they're expecting droves of people for the NFL draft and the NCAA tournament, both in Kansas City.
A lot of influx of out-of-state individuals and those in the state that are coming to Kansas City for those events, and we're getting ready for those increased sales with additional staffing.
These dispensaries expect these kinds of sales to continue.
So Missouri's definitely doing something right, and considering the fact that they only legalized the good herb for recreational use back in 2022, I think that that's fantastic. And that clip which I showed you guys was from a couple years back, but that does not mean that things have changed. Because according to this article, even today, as at September 7th, 2025, Missouri sees strong sales as prices remain steady. And I quote, "More people are heading to Missouri's dispo to buy products and spending more money when they go. Missouri is viewed as a stronger market than others. There are things happening in Missouri that are causing consumers to not just be shopping on price. When you're only shopping on price, it becomes a race to the bottom." And those are pretty interesting points, guys. Only shopping on price, you're only trying to get the cheapest product. A lot of the times, those products, the quality is just not there. And if the norm becomes to sell products that are really low quality, then that's definitely not good for the market or the industry as a whole. But the truth is that Missouri is doing such a great job that after only 1 month of recreational sales, they've already generated over $100 million. Have a look.
Right now at 5 this weekend, marking 1 month since recreational marijuana became legal in the state of Missouri. Just for the month of February, sales have already exceeded $100 million. Thank you for being with us. I'm Ann Allred. Mike Bush has the night off. An amendment allowing for recreational sales in Missouri passed in November 2022, which paved the way for dispensaries to open across our area. 5 on your side's Mercedes McKay joins us in the studio with a look at the success of the first month of sales. Mercedes?
And to put the success into perspective, the first month of recreational marijuana sales in Illinois generated just $39.2 million compared to Missouri's first month with $102 million.
Wow.
That sales record includes $13 million from the first weekend alone. Dispensary owners tell me it's been an exciting and busy first month.
Our main goal is to make sure that people who connect with us are as happy as they can be.
Traffic inside Field State Dispensary in Florissant hasn't slowed down a bit.
We went from seeing about 150 people a day to about 550 overnight.
While it's been an exciting first month of recreational marijuana sales, General Manager Nick Wegman says they're making changes constantly to keep up with the demand.
We've hired about 15 new people, intend to double that here in the next couple of weeks. More bags, more staples, more printer paper.
Wegman says about 160 new people are walking through the doors daily, but patients aren't the only ones experiencing the benefits.
I think just in general, the spirit of North County is lifted, so to speak.
Now guys, what that shows me is that a lot of these southern states that a lot of people typically associate with prohibition, conservatives, and the fact that they do not like the good herb, it shows that that's actually a changing perception, because the fact is, in certain states, a lot more people are consuming the good herb for recreational and medical purposes. And I know Missouri is more of a Midwest state, but we're going to hop over to Arkansas to see what they're doing in a bit. But all of this got me wondering, how come Missouri is doing so much better than a lot of these other states? And the answer may be pretty simple. It may come down to the fact that the licensing process is a little bit more straightforward and a lot more people are able to get these licenses. And not too long ago, according to this report, Missouri literally approved over 200 licenses. And this is in stark contrast to what we've seen in other states where licenses are given out on a lottery basis, or it's just really hard to get and the max number of licenses are something like 9 or 10.
Starting today, Missouri is selling recreational marijuana. It comes after voters passed an amendment back in November, and marijuana dispensaries have been busy all day long. Our Justina Cronell stopped by 2 dispensaries today. Justina, what are you learning?
Yeah, so Brent, Missouri's health department says today it approved more than 200 dispensaries to sell recreational marijuana. Now, just a few hours ago, we went to Starbuds in University City and Field State in Florissant. We're told the first person to make a purchase at Starbuds was as early as 7 a.m.
It's been busy. Our phones have been ringing off the hook consistently.
It's a sign of new times outside of Starbuds in University City.
They just want to know if we're recreational or not.
It's the buzz over buds. Dispensary owners were gearing up for Monday to sell recreational marijuana.
The prayers were answered and Christmas came a little bit early.
But Missouri's health department gave dispensaries the green light early on Friday.
And then it was just a race of, is our system ready?
This now means anyone over 21 can buy.
Missouri only allows the possession of up to 3 ounces.
Despite the early start, dispensary owners have already been hustling.
We almost doubled our staff.
Starbuds owner Chris Chesley says they've adjusted.
We're one of the few dispensaries that does deli style, so we made sure that the state came in and recalibrated all of our scales to make sure they're absolutely perfect.
In North St. Louis County, Field State also made modifications.
And we're going to be expanding hours, especially this first week.
Even stepping up production.
So we worked on quadrupling production down there to meet the demands forecasted here. And then anticipating with what we have at our retail location here at Field State, we've actually doubled and tripled inventory.
Co-owner Tyler Hannigan expects a wave.
On a typical day here medically, we're seeing around 150 patients.
Projecting 500 customers a day from here on out.
I'd say that from an annual perspective, we're looking to probably triple where we were at in terms of gross sales. But yeah, we'll probably be hovering around the $7.5 to $10 million mark.
So it's a multi-million-dollar industry, and a lot of people obtain benefits from this good herb. And even in states where it's not yet legal for recreational use, but it is legal for medical use, we're noticing that in those states, sales are on track for new annual records. And that's exactly what we're seeing over here in Arkansas, as medical sales in Arkansas are on track to set a new annual record. A total of $1.5 billion has been spent on medical herbs since the first state dispensary opened back in May 2019. And I quote, folks down in Arkansas spent $10 million or more on medical herbs so far this year than during the first 8 months of 2024, putting the state on track to exceed a record set 2 years ago, according to the state finance department. Now, if you have a look at some of these numbers, they are off the chart. We're talking millions and billions of dollars. And I want to show you guys what Arkansas is doing with their medical licenses, but first, let's have a look at some of those sales and the profits that they're raking in.
Getting in weekend sales numbers for Arkansas medical marijuana sales, and if they hold, this could be a record-breaking year. Nearly 40 open dispensaries across Arkansas sold $121 million worth of medical marijuana from January 1st to May 31st of this year. That's a more than $7 million increase over the same time frame last year. Scott Harden with the Arkansas Department of Finance and Administration says this was a surprise to his office because last year actually saw a drop in sales over 2023. He says not only are patients buying more product, there are more of those patients making purchases.
As far as patient cards, we're up to 110,000 patients in the state, which again, when Arkansas approved this, pushing almost 10 years ago, it was in 2016, we assumed that it'd be about 50,000 when the market was fully mature. However, today there are 110,000 people with active patient cards.
Harden says Arkansans are averaging $800,000 in sales every day, and if that continues, he says 2025 will be a record year.
So almost $1 million in sales every single day, and also over 100,000 medical card holders down there in Arkansas, which is almost double what they expected when the market became fully mature. So that shows me that a lot of folks are using these products for medical purposes, or at the very least for relief. And with all of these medical patients and all these medical card holders, what is Arkansas doing when it comes to the licenses and the dispensaries? How are they managing that?
We begin with a multi-million-dollar industry in Arkansas. Back in 2016, voters passed a law legalizing marijuana for medicinal purposes, with up to 40 dispensaries allowed to open across the state. But nearly a decade later, not all the licenses have been given out. Now, with one dispensary recently losing theirs, some are wondering, when will the program be complete? New tonight, THV11's Ashley Godwin finds that answer.
Green Springs Dispensary in Hot Springs recently lost their medical marijuana license, but that's not the only license on the table in Arkansas.
The Green Springs license is an interesting position because, one, we have 2 active lawsuits.
Earlier this year, Green Springs Medical Dispensary had their license revoked because they were selling expired product and not following Arkansas law. While the ABC board has taken back the license, there are currently 2 lawsuits filed by the previous owner to appeal the decision. But even if those lawsuits are found in the owner's favor, that license could not be reinstated.
Right now, the Medical Marijuana Commission is under an active temporary restraining order that says you can't issue any dispensary licenses at this time.
Back in 2022, Absolute Essence, an unsuccessful license applicant, filed a lawsuit against the state saying the application process was unfair. Since then, no licenses can be given out until the litigation is decided.
People look at Oklahoma, our next door neighbor, and you see thousands of dispensaries. And they look at Arkansas and say, why not us? Why can't we have thousands of dispensaries?
After voters approved a medical marijuana program in 2016, Arkansas can have up to 40 dispensaries. Because of these lawsuits, 3 of those licenses have yet to be given out, meaning we will only have 37 dispensaries until something changes.
As of now, it doesn't look like we're going to see any licenses issued anytime soon.
So you guys can see how important the licensing process is and how big of a role those licenses play on the industry either being successful or being a complete failure. Now it's pretty interesting because over in Arkansas they're only giving out 40 licenses, and comparing that to somewhere like Missouri where they gave out 200 licenses in one go, you guys can see how there's a little bit of a difference. But that difference is a big factor because if you just hand out tons of licenses willy-nilly, you can end up in a situation where you're oversaturated. There's way too many licenses, way too many dispos, and not enough people are actually making profit. And in a situation where there's oversaturation, overtaxation, and overproduction, the industry fails. And that's something we've seen in Colorado and in California. So let me know what you guys think about everything that we discussed in today's video, from what's happening down in Kentucky, they're finally rolling out their medical program, to Missouri and their strong and booming market, which is proving to be a light for the rest of the industry to follow, but also Arkansas, because their medical sales are on track to hit an all-time record once again. Drop it in the comments and let me know what you guys think about all this. Now this one may have gone under the radar, but we discussed recently the licensing issues, and there's some big issues when it comes to licensing. So if you haven't seen that video, check it out because it's coming up right now.